Hello and welcome to the Mr&Ms Technology channel. In this video, we will be exploring the news about the Starliner stranded in space. What happens when astronauts get stuck in space? The two NASA astronauts overstaying on the ISS aren't the first astronauts to be stuck in space, and they probably won't be the last. Spare a thought then for NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, now more than 2 months into their 8-day mission to the International Space Station ISS. It is thought that the spacecraft that took them there, Boeing's shiny new Starliner, may not be capable of getting them safely back to Earth. At a NASA media briefing on 7th of August, senior officials detailed the problems with components in the Starliner's multiple thrusters. There were leaks in its propulsion system, and some thrusters powered down. Despite extensive testing on the ground, engineers have yet to understand the physics behind the issue. Meanwhile, testing in orbit shows that, in space, the thrusters are now performing well, further adding to the confusion. Until engineers have confidence in the propulsion system, an immediate flight home for Williams and Wilmore and Starliner is looking increasingly unlikely. Although no final decision has been made, one possible scenario is to send the spacecraft back to Earth autonomously without them. Our chances of an uncrewed Starliner return have increased a little bit based on the way things have gone over the last week or two, admitted Ken Bowersox, NASA's Director of Space Operations. We know that at some point we need to bring Butch and Suni home, but it may not be anytime soon. If Starliner flies back empty, then NASA plans to send up a 4-seater SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft with just 2 astronauts on board. Williams and Wilmore would then remain on the station until February 2025 and return with them. With the 4 other NASA astronauts on the ISS due to come back to Earth in September, that would leave the regular complement of 4 astronauts and 3 Russian cosmonauts, a total of 7, on the ISS. While they're up there, we have extra hands. They can do a lot more work, but they're also using up more consumables, more supplies, said Bowersox. At some point, we need to get back to a normal crew size. There are, however, worse places to be stuck. The space station is actually now a 7-bedroom, 3-bathroom ensuite. NASA astronaut Victor Glover, who spent 6 months on the ISS in 2020-2021, told the Space Boffins podcast shortly before the Starliner launch in June. Water is plentiful, and a recent resupply mission means that there is also more than enough food. That's not to downplay the issues, but it should never have been an 8-day mission in the first place, Kremer says. They have both done 6-month missions before, and that's why they should have been assigned a longer mission. Most of us might get angry or frustrated at a canceled train or overnight delay in an airport, but astronauts are some of the most highly trained people you will ever meet and are prepared for almost every contingency. We are professional risk takers, says Glover. We do our best to mitigate those risks, but going to space is not risk-free. Williams and Wilmore are 2 of NASA's most experienced astronauts, and mission planners have been working to make the best of the situation, integrating them into the daily schedule and using their expertise in testing Starliner. The astronauts have also helped to maintain the station, fix spacesuits, run science experiments, and even took time out for some Olympic training. The situation is not without precedent, and it could be a whole lot worse. They're great crew members, great astronauts, great at flying Starliner, said the manager of the International Space Station program, Dana Weigel, in a briefing earlier this month. We've always got backup plans. They've been fully trained for the ISS science experiments, and they're prepared for either path that we go down. As well as conducting scientific experiments, the astronauts' familiarity with the station and its inner workings means they have been quickly deployed on household tasks, such as organizing cargo, sorting food supplies, and deep cleaning equipment racks. Their advanced microgravity plumbing skills have also been called upon. Normally on the station, astronauts' sweat and urine is recycled into drinking water, but a recent fault has meant the crew have had to store urine instead. Not ideal in an already cramped environment with 2 extra crew. With replacement parts carried with them and additional equipment, which arrived on the recent supply mission, Williams and Wilmore have been endeavoring to get the system fixed. It says a lot about the success of the space station and the professionalism of everyone who works on the missions that dramas like this are rare. It's easy to forget that since November 2000, there have always been people living and working in space. But the situation is not without precedent, and it could be a whole lot worse. When Soviet cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev traveled to space station Mir in May 1991, he was anticipating spending a few months in orbit. The early weeks of the mission all went to plan and included the flight of the first British astronaut, Helen Sharman. Starliner, the U.S. space industry's next big thing? What does a year in space do to the human body? What are the odds of a successful space launch? What is clear about this latest situation is that no one is panicking while evidence about the state of Starliner is being gathered. NASA's final decision on whether to fly the spacecraft with or without a crew is still likely to be a few weeks away. But even if Williams and Wilmore do get to come back in September, similar situations will almost certainly arise in future, particularly as spacecraft get more sophisticated and missions go to the moon and beyond. Next year, Victor Glover will be piloting Artemis II, the first mission to leave Earth's orbit since 1972. We would be doing a disservice to our profession and to the public if we made it seem like what we do is routine, Glover says. When we fly the 10th Starliner mission, it will be just as complicated and complex. This video is based on a BBC News report. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.